From the CyberHub bunker and studio, you're tuning in to the CyberHub Podcast. And now for your host and CISO, James Azar.
Hey, good morning, security gang. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's Thursday, March 27th, 2025. I'm pre-recording this morning's episode. I'm obviously wrapping up my week here in Israel at CyberTech and just Cyber Week Tel Aviv. It's been an absolutely great time. So much going on here. The ecosystem thriving, just great conversations, especially everyone really excited on the heels of the Wiz $32 billion acquisition by Google. So a lot of that going on, met with a lot of different companies, startups, VCs, and so many more amazing people here within the ecosystem. Pictures forthcoming, a long LinkedIn post forthcoming once I kind of settle, take everything in, and I'm able to communicate what I'm feeling in words. So with that being said, we've got a packed show for all y'all today. We're going to get right into it there. You're obviously seeing our first story, which is the Oracle story. But before that, cyberhubpodcast.com. Make sure to go subscribe, follow, share, like, comment. You get this very episode in written format with action items and a short one-paragraph kind of summary of each and every single story so that you can, if you want to communicate one of these stories, if you want to get your team on it, the links and everything's all available at cyberhubpodcast.com. Go there right now. Let's get into this Oracle thing because a lot of people have been talking about this. So Oracle, for their end, are denying that there was a breach of its Oracle Cloud Federated SSO login. Now, are they denying it because they're lying, or are they denying it because they have yet to find proof that it actually happened, or that it's current data, or that it's their data, or that it's something along those lines? The reason for that is because an unknown threat actor by the name of Rose 87168 claimed to have breached Oracle's cloud servers and began selling those authentication data and encrypted passwords of nearly 6 million different users. The threat actors also said that stolen SSO and LDAP passwords that could be decrypted using the info in the stolen files, offering to share some of that data if someone could help recover them and obviously get them into the loot. The threat actor released multiple text files consisting of a database and LDAP data and a list of 140,621 domains of companies that were allegedly impacted by the breach. It should be noted that some of those company domains look like test domains, but there are multiple domains per company, which would play along with something we would know as practitioners, right? Whenever you're testing, you're trying to do a whole bunch of things. You've got a bunch of test domains. You're testing at test.com. You're doing all kinds of different things as you're going about it. So is this, real LDAP data? Is it test data? Is it coming from maybe a dev server? None of it's really a prod type of data. Who knows? In addition to the data, Rose 87168 shared an archive.org URL with Bleeping Computer for a text file hosted on the login.us2.oraclecloud.com server that contained their email address. The files indicate the threat actor could create files on Oracle servers, indicating an actual breach. Now, Oracle, for their end, are saying that it suffered a breach of Oracle Cloud, that it's denying that it suffered a breach, refusing to respond to any further questions about the incident, and not talking about it. The denial is contradicting findings by Bleeping Computer themselves, which have received additional samples of the leaked data from the threat actor and contacted some of those associated companies. All who agreed to confirm the data under the promise of anonymity confirmed the authenticity of the information, meaning that's their data. The companies also stated that the associated LDAP display names, email addresses, given names, and other identifying information were all correct and all belonged to them. The threat actor also sharing emails with Bleeping Computer, claiming to be part of an exchange between them and Oracle. One email showing the threat actor contacting Oracle security email secalerts_us@oracle.com to report that they had hacked the server. I've dug into your cloud dashboard, it said. Dashboard infrastructure found a massive vulnerability that has handed me full access to info on 6 million users. Another email thread shared with Bleeping Computer shows an exchange between the threat actor and someone using a Proton Mail email address who claims to be from Oracle. Bleeping Computer has redacted the email address of this person so that identity could not be validated. In the exchange, the threat actor says that someone from Oracle was using a proton.me email address, telling them, "We received your emails. Let us use this email for all communication from now on. Let me know when you get this." So whether or not that's true or not, again, that was redacted. So there's no way to know. This is obviously a blackmail situation from this threat actor towards Oracle. Now, did Oracle really do this? Was this all them? we're about to find out, right? I mean, it's a matter of time. Oracle is a publicly traded company. They do have SEC regulations and guidelines. So one reason, they could be denying it because they don't know it's happening. They could be denying it because they're not ready to report it yet. They could be denying it because there's an ongoing investigation, and this could impact a whole bunch of different things. Either way, the truth will eventually come out, and when it does, we'll be here to report it for all of y'all. Personally, based on what Bleeping Computer has done in some of the data I see, this looks real. Just going to say it out there right now. I hope I'm wrong, but it looks real. So just going to keep that there. Let's get into Streamelements, confirming that it suffered a data breach due to a third-party service provider after a threat actor leaked some samples of the stolen data on the hacking forum. The platform has reassured users that the attack didn't impact its servers, though older data at a third-party provider they stopped working with last year was still exposed. They can confirm that no Streamelements servers were breached. The incident didn't originate within their systems, and they take data seriously, blah, blah, blah. Streamelements, for those who don't know, is a popular cloud-based streaming tool platform used primarily by content creators like yours truly. I don't use Streamelements, but that stream on Twitch and YouTube. It provides a suite for stream overlays, tips, donation, chatbots, activity feeds, merch, store integration, stream analytics, loyalty reward systems, and a whole lot more. Maybe I should be using it. Wow. They're kind of like looking at this. I'm like, hey, maybe I should do this with all y'all. Anyways, Streamelements comes after a threat actor using the nickname Victim claimed to have stolen the data of 210,000 Streamelements customers on March 20th. The threat actor also shared samples of the data, which included full names, addresses, phone numbers, and email addresses. Again, that's not considered PII in most situations unless there's a ID number there or a government shared ID. Otherwise, that's considered public information that's already available. So now you know who my customers are. Boohoo. So none of that really matters. But Streamelements dealing with a third-party breach, continuing to do just that. A defense contractor is agreeing to pay a $4.6 million fine over weaknesses found at their third-party provider's security. A technology company based in Cambridge, Massachusetts, is the latest defense contractor reaching a settlement with the U.S. government for failing to meet federal cybersecurity requirements. Morse Corp agreed to pay a $4.6 million fine to resolve allegations that it violated the False Claims Act, an 1863 law that created civil penalties for misrepresenting the quality of service provided to the government. The company has said, which has contracts with the Army and Air Force, was founded by an alumni from the MIT and specializes in software and hardware with national security focus. According to the DOJ, the company used a third-party provider to host emails without ensuring that it met security requirements laid out by NIST. Who did they use? Where were you hosting emails, Morse? I mean, where? Maybe Proton? Because Microsoft and G Suite Enterprise would both meet the basic NIST standard. Maybe Proton? Like an early version, pre-enterprise, pre-COVID Proton? Anyways, Morse's failure to implement those measures could lead to significant exploitation of the networks or exfiltration of controlled defense information. The company also did not produce a written plan for all of its information systems, describing system boundaries, environments of operations, how security requirements are implemented, and their relationships with connections to other systems. According to the settlement, Morse conducted a required assessment of its cyber posture in 2021 that overstated its protections, giving itself a score of 104 on a range of 210 to 110. An auditor hired the next year by the company gave Morse a score of minus 42. It found that it was failing to comply with 78% of the NIST standards. The company didn't submit a revised score to the regulators for nearly a year, and then investigation were issued a subpoena, and as part of the settlement, they acknowledged their failure to meet that. So there's that. After Astral Foods, which is a poultry company based in South Africa, went through a security incident that caused a net loss of $1.1 million in just a week. Astral Foods is an integrated poultry producer, one of the largest of its kind in South Africa. It has many subsidiaries in the country. It's the largest producer of broiler chickens in the country and second largest chicken processor. Its operations include manufacturing animal feeds, broiler genetics, hatching eggs, and more. Astral Food did not describe the type of cybersecurity incident the company experienced, but they did say the company implemented their disaster recovery protocols. However, their poultry division was negatively impacted by downtime in processing and deliveries to customers. This downtime as well caused as costs to catch up the backlogs in production, which affected the company's profits this reporting period by about 20 million rens, or about $1.1 million. They say no sensitive data was there. So direct business impact, you see it right there. And when I talk about the stories like the previous one or this one, and you see the fines, or you see that perceived, these are all the business use cases that we as practitioners, these are the examples we need to talk about, right? This has got to be stuff we have that we can pull kind of in that water cooler conversation, that networking piece that we're having with our executives, with stakeholders within the organization. These are the type, with compliance and legal, these are the types of confirmations we have to have. Direct business impact, 4.6 million fine there for lying on an audit, $1.1 million loss already in a week over what's happening there, and recovery. So that's our breach news for today. Let's get into the Chinese threat actor known as Famous Sparrow being linked to a cyber attack that targeted a trade group in the U.S. and a research institute in Mexico, delivering its flagship backdoor Sparrow door and Shadow Pad, which we've talked about a lot here on the show. The activity that happened in July of 2024 marks the first time the hacking crew deployed Shadow Pad, a malware widely shared by Chinese state-sponsored actors. They deployed 2 previous undocumented versions of the Sparrow door backdoor. One of them was modular, according to ESET. Both versions constitute considerable progress over some of those previous ones that they had, and they implement parallelization of those commands. Famous Sparrow was first documented by ESET in September of 2021. Since then, there's been reports of adversarial collective tactical overlaps with other clusters like Earth Estries and Ghost Emperor, and even Salt Typhoon. ESET noted that it's treating Famous Sparrow as a distinct threat group with some loose links to Earth Estries, stemming from the parallels with Crow Door and Hemi Gate. All in all, we're seeing these types of attacks continue to evolve. A production line monitoring camera made by Japanese company Inaba Denki Sanagayo are being affected by several potentially serious vulnerabilities that could lead to be exploited for surveillance and sabotage, and they still remain unpatched. Researchers at Nozomi Networks analyzed the company's Choco Tie Watcher mini camera, which is used to monitor plans for production disruption and analyze incidents. According to Nozomi, they discovered that the camera is affected by 4 different types of vulnerabilities, including critical issues related to weak password requirements and forced browsing, a high severity issue related to the use of client-side authentication, and a medium severity flaw related to the storage of passwords. Supply chain security around firmware and hardware, something we talked about on our panel today, as we're talking about geopolitics, and cyber, is the idea that when you talk about your national security and you talk about geopolitics, we saw after October 7th, the Iranian and pro-Palestinian threat groups going after Israeli companies with the effort of using cyber warfare in order to cause economic warfare, meaning for companies to maybe not use those Israeli products anymore. The same applies here, but this is an economic warfare, but this is very much supply chain security. And it's something that we have to be, if we all held a higher standard, likely these types of situations would not happen. However, that's not the case here. And something to keep in mind is this type of supply chain is looking for these types of validations from manufacturers before purchasing anything like this that you would put in your environment. It's something I personally ask for all the time. Show me your supply chain validation QA process. Show me the latest report on your firmware. Show me an executive summary of the latest pen test you've done on your firmware. And if you can't show me those things, I'm likely not buying your product to put in a production environment that could impact my business operations. That's just not a thing that I would do. We're going to continue with a Red Curl, a threat actor named Red Curl, known for stealthy corporate espionage operations since at least 2018, is now using a ransomware encryptor designed to target the Hyper-V virtual machines. Red Curl previously was spotted by Group IB. It was targeting corporate entities worldwide. It later expanded its operation, increasing its victim count. Bitdefender Labs research reports are now saying that the threat actors have started deploying ransomware on some of those compromised networks. They've seen them stick to their usual playbook. They continue with data exfil over longer periods of time. However, one case stood out where they broke their routine and deployed ransomware for the very first time. Most ransomware operations focus on VMware's ESXi's. Red Curl's new QW Crypt ransomware specifically targets virtual machines hosted on Hyper-V. The attacks observed start with a phishing email with a .img attachment disguised as a CVS. The IMG files are disk image files that are automatically mounted by Windows under a new drive letter when they are double-clicked. The IMG files then contains a screensaver file vulnerable to DLL sideloading using a legitimate Adobe executable, which downloads a payload and sets persistence via scheduled task. It then leverages living off the land tools to maintain stealth on Windows systems using a custom WMI EXCC variant to spread laterally within the network without triggering any of your security tools, and using the tool chisel for tunneling and RDP access. Once it turns off defenses before the ransomware is deployed, the attackers then uses an encrypted 7C archives and a multi-stage PowerShell processes. Unlike many Windows ransomware encryptors, QW Crypt supports numerous command line arguments that control how the encryptor will target the virtual machines to customize each attack to carry pretty much the most damage. Now, is this money disruption or diversion? One can only wonder. However, it's something to be aware of and get to your teams ASAP. OpenAI is raising its maximum bug bounty payout to $100,000 from $20,000 as part of plans to outsource the discovery of critical and high-impact vulnerabilities in its infrastructure and products. The bug bounty is part of a broader set of security initiatives from OpenAI that include funding for security research projects, continuous adversarial red teaming, and engagements with the open source community. The company's also announced the expansion of the cybersecurity grant program that has already funded 28 different research initiatives since its rollout in 2023. And finally, the late-stage startup Island in the enterprise browser field announcing a $250 million Series E funding round that pushes its valuation to nearly $5 billion. Island was here at CyberTech today when this announcement came out. Island has offices in Texas, in Austin, I believe, and Israel. Said this new investment was provided by Cochu Management and brings Island's total external funding to about $730 million since it launched in 2020. The latest raise is a signal that investors remain bullish on the browser security space despite competitive pressures from the likes of Microsoft, Google, Layer X, and so many others that have different approaches to it. But maybe it's because there's so many competitors and so many ways to go about it. They find that to be very effective. That's it for our show this morning. We'll be back Monday with all the latest cybersecurity news. Until then, have a great rest of your day. And make sure to check out, by the way, before I end it, make sure to go sign up for CyberHubPodcast.com or follow me on LinkedIn and X for my updates from CyberTech as I download all my thoughts and share them with the best audience on the planet. Have a great weekend. See you in the stateside on Monday. Until then, stay cyber safe.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.